Good afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting of the Charlotte County Planning and Zoning Advisory Board to order. If the secretary would please call the roll.
Michael Gravenson.
Here.
Paul Bigness.
Here.
Stephen Vieira, absent. Don McCormick.
Here.
And Clint Baker.
Here. We have 4 of our members here. That constitutes a quorum. The minutes for the June 13th meeting were circulated. Any questions, comments, or corrections? If there's no objection, then we'll accept those as they were circulated. Does the staff have any announcements?
The one announcement is that item number 3 has been removed, and that is being removed to November of this year.
Okay. I'd like to remind the audience to silence their cell phones so that they don't go off during the middle of any presentations. The first item is a quasi-judicial. If you're going to be speaking concerning that, you need to rise and take the oath.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, please say I do. Thank you.
Okay. So item number 1, Mr. Sean.
Thank you. Sean Cullinan, Planning Zoning Official. I have been sworn. The first item before you is a preliminary plat for Charlotte County Center, LLC. This is a request to create 2 separate lots from the property located at 18501 Murdoch Circle. That is across the street here in the SunTrust area. The property is approximately 5.85 acres and had not been previously platted. This is located in Commission District 2. Here is the full range aerial, mid-range, and the aerial location map. The future land use map designation is DRI, Development of Regional Impact Mixed Use, and the zoning designation is CG for Commercial General. This is the 1,000-foot adjacent property owner notification map, and yes, we did notify ourselves. This is the proposed changes, and those proposed changes overlaid onto the aerial. The intent of this is in order to have a Starbucks on this newly created Lot 2. This had been a parent tract that had already been split apart one time, and so that is what necessitates this being having it to be platted as a subdivision. With that, staff finds it meets all the standards and requirements of the comprehensive plan and land use regulations. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any questions for staff?
None.
Okay. Do we have a representative for?
Does not appear that they have shown up. No.
They've not shown up. You had no conditions on it?
No, sir.
Okay. So we'll open the public comment. Anyone wishing to speak about this petition, please come forward.
Move to close public comment.
I have a motion, a second to close public comment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public comment time is closed. Just a standard plat with splitting off to a second lot.
Yes, sir. This is relatively straightforward in our world, and it gets us that much closer to a drive-through Starbucks.
Okay. Any discussion from the board? Then I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion that...
Is your microphone on? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Make a motion that we move forward the application PP-22-03-08 to the Board of County Commissioners with a recommendation of approval based on the findings and analysis in the staff memo dated June 17, 2022, Charlotte County's comprehensive plan, and the evidence and testimony presented at the public hearing before the Planning and Zoning Board.
Second it.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Last item on the agenda.
Thank you. Again, Sean Cullinan, Planning Zoning Official. I haven't sworn, but this is legislative. This is a request for a plat vacation from the Eugene M. Grant Estate. This is a request to vacate an undeveloped tractor parcel of land. It's a number of paper roadways as well as previously platted lots that were platted in the late 1800s, early 1900s. The property is approximately 54.56 acres with the platted streets containing 1.36 acres, located north of Carmelita Street, south of Dundee, and west of Florida Street in Punta Gorda area. Here's the high-end aerial, mid-range, and the aerial location map. You can see the South County Regional Park here, Carmelita Street to the bottom, and Dundee Road to the top right there. The future land use map designation is high-density residential, and the zoning designations are a mix of RMF 12 in this darker blue and RMF 10, residential multifamily, 10 units per acre and 12 units per acre. This is the 1,000-foot notification map, the proposed changes, and the results of those proposed changes overlaid onto the aerial. Please note that there will be a restrictive covenant that the underlying vacated land does not have any density on it, and so it will not have any increase in density above what is already currently allowed on this property. So with that, staff finds it meets all the standards and criteria of the land development regulations and comprehensive plan. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and the applicant is here as well.
What is the listed density at this time?
It is roughly 600 units. They are looking to do, we've had some discussions of a multifamily housing complex in that area of about 600 units.
Okay, but they're entitled to right now the 600.
That is correct. The zoning designations and the future land use map designations allow that type of development by right.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? Mr. Burnson.
Good afternoon, Rob Burnson, Big W Law Firm, here on behalf of the applicant. I think this is relatively simple. There's basically 3 paper roads that cut through that you could see there on any of those, one running that way and one running across. So this basically just makes a unified development so that you don't have setbacks from those paper roads that do not exist. The front of the property is heavily wetland. So that area will most likely be preserved as a wetland as we move forward, but this is simply getting rid of the lines on the paper. We will be going through the appropriate process for site plan approval as we move forward once this is complete. Just to clarify, I think we all know what Sean meant. There's no density in the underlying roadways. There's density on the balance of the property, and that's why...
Yes, I apologize. I meant for the roadways, it does increase the density.
He made me a little nervous when he said there's no density on the property. So I just want that on the... Yeah, and suddenly they appeared. Good. So that's all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Burnson?
No.
No? Okay.
Thank you.
We'll open the public comment time. Anybody wishing to speak, please come forward at this time.
Hello, my name is Mary Bittner. I live in the Waterford development across Carmelita. Would you like my street address? Okay. I don't have... Oh, I'm sorry. Sign in?
Please. This is the legislative.
I don't have concerns about this. I just have 2 questions. I'm unfamiliar with affordable housing requirements, and I know that's a big need in the county, and I'm wondering if a certain percentage of these homes will be affordable housing or are required to be. I don't know the laws. And coming in and out of our development on Carmelita during school hours, the way the pickup drop-off system is worked, there is always a long backup of cars in front of the high school, and it's very difficult to travel on Carmelita between 2 and 4 and 8 and 9. And I'm wondering, will most of this development dump out on Carmelita, or would the other access point be more appropriate? Thank you.
Well, I don't usually answer the questions, but at this point, your questions are premature. This is only to vacate the plat that exists, which is for the roadways. They haven't submitted the development plan, which your questions would be directed toward that. So you'll need to pay attention to as things come forward in the future, in the next year to 2. If you want, I'm sure Mr. Burnson would be glad to give you his card to be able to be in touch concerning those issues.
If I may, there will not be any public hearings relating to this. As by right developments, this is the only public hearing, and this is just to erase those paper roadways.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm corrected. But Any other comments? Okay,
Please come forward.
yeah. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, move to close public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to close public comment. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public comment time is closed. Any discussion or questions from the board?
I do have a question.
Yes.
Sean, if I was to make the motion to do this, should I make reference to the covenant as well?
Yes. That will be brought forward before the BCC anyway, but you should make that motion as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Mr.
And
Chairman, I
if
make
you'd like, you can say there's no density on it and really give Mr. Burnson a heart attack.
Please, all right. I move to forward application PV-22-04-02 to the Board of County Commissioners with a recommendation of approval based on the findings and analysis in the staff memo dated June 17, 2022. The motion is subject to a covenant regarding the density. Is that the covenant regarding the density?
Yes, sir, that there is no inherent density on those vacated streets.
All right. And the evidence and testimony presented at the public hearing before the Planning and Zoning Board of the state.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. That goes forward. Any other items of business?
Next month's meeting, during the board's August recess for Board of County Commissioners, they're going to be doing some work in this room. So our meeting will be located in B106 over in the two-story building next door on the first floor, and it will not be televised.
Any other announcements? And we are adjourned.